All right, so welcome back. In this session, we are going to be talking about uh, package manager for JavaScript applications. Package manager for JavaScript application, first of all, then we'll talk about modules, JavaScript modules.
Recording in progress.
Okay. All right, so for every programming language that you write, there is something that we call package manager. Package manager are what we use to manage the packages within an application. All right, so let me put it up like that. Packages within an application. So if you're building a very big application, even a small applications, and it requires a lot of logic, so life is too small for you to build, maybe write everything A to Z, right? So there are a couple of packages that have been built by other developers within the ecosystem, and that might maybe take you a couple of times for you to be able to build up, even if you have the competency or the capacity to be able to build that yourself. All right, so you can take advantage of the ecosystem and just pick some of these packages and use. So one reason you want to use a package manager is that you can use it to get packages that have been built by other developers using any of the package manager distributions available, and we'll see that in a bit. And that is one again is when you use package managers, your own code becomes a bit more reusable from one application to other. Maybe certain things you've done in one application, you want to also make use of it in another application, or you also build a package and you want to be generous enough to ship it to the market for other developers to be able to use in their applications. All right, so essentially you want to use package manager to manage the packages that you use in your applications, which are the packages are source codes that have been written by other developers for certain implementations, so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel and write. You understand? So you use that, and of course also to manage the workflows within your applications in terms of testing and in terms of course running, and maybe sometimes the linters and all of those things like that. So pretty much managing how your application run, managing the packages, the external resources that you use, and of course you can also use that to package your own application. All right, so the notable for JavaScript, like I mentioned, the notable package manager is Node Package Manager, which is npm. npm is Node Package Manager. Node Package Manager. So that is words and npm. So as you can see here, it uses Node, and Node of course is a runtime, JavaScript runtime. All right, so we use this to manage JavaScript package. For every programming language, they have their own. For maybe PHP, they have their own. For Java, they have their own. You have Maven, PHP. You have Composer. So each of these languages have their own. For Python, you have pip and all of that. So here we use Node Package Manager, or we use Yarn. So it's either we use npm or we use Yarn. Funny enough, one of the ways of installing Yarn is also through npm. If you're on Windows, if you're on Unix systems or Mac OS, you can use Brew to install the Yarn. So Yarn, you may either use Yarn or npm as your JavaScript or Node package manager. All right, so you guys can research a bit about the differences between npm and Yarn. So I'll just give you the summary at the surface. Yarn has been, said, and of course it has shown that Yarn is a bit more efficient than npm, in that Yarn tends to install stuff in parallel, and by virtue of that, you have performance enhancement. You have performance enhancement in Yarn more than you got in npm. So a bit of this. So if you don't have, for you to be able to use npm, of course you must have Node installed. You must have a Node installed on your laptop. So, and you can get Node from, you can just go get Node. You can go get Node and install the Node. You can go to nodejs.org and get the latest version on the latest stable version. So install that, ensure that you install that on your laptop. So once you have that installed, you will then have npm by default. So if you have npm, you may want to, so let me clear this guy. So sorry, so let me have this. So I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to create a new folder, and then I will create a new package that will use this npm on. So please, if you don't have Node installed, go ahead and go to that nodejs.org and download for your OS version. Once you have that, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder which you can just go create normally from your file explorer, or you can use a make directory command. So let me say I created these ones and I call it JS let's say I call it JS part 2. So let's say we call it JS part 2. This is a folder, and now so once I create that JS part 2, I just go straight into that JS part 2. JS part 2. Now that we are in this folder, I'm going to use, either way, it's either you want to use npm or you want to use Yarn. So you're going to use, so if you say npm init, it means you are initiating an npm package, which is, let's say you are starting your project afresh, or even if you already have an existing project, just like this one where we've been working with, this Tyler Core 5 or things like that, you can still make that and package it and use it as this. But I'm just creating a new, as if I'm creating a new project, and then I'm just starting everything up. So npm init, and so it's going to walk you through a couple of questions to set up your package or JSON. So the first thing is asking is, what is the name of this your package? Because the package, your application is a package in itself. So maybe the application you're writing might be something that you want to deploy to an npm store or something like that. So so you have the package name. This would be the project name, the name of the project that you're working on. So let me say Tile and this has to be small letters. So let me say Tile. That is for npm though. For yarn it doesn't. So Tile community. So let me say that is the name of the project, Tile community. What's the version? So let's say this is version 1.0.0. so in this order. Description, I just call it Tile community projects. Okay, so entry points. So as you're starting your application, what is the first page to be served just when you run npm start? So you say index.js. So if you want to confirm what is in the brackets, you just say enter. Test command if you want to test your applications. If you want to write a command for testing, what are they going to be running? All this is optional, but you can put it in there and change it later. Maybe npm test, that is a test command that will be run if they want to run an end-to-end test in your application. So you say git repository, where if you have created a git repo for this, you want to put it in there. All this one you can change them later on in your package.json. All right, so let's say you have it created, so you just have github.com/ your package name. So let's say github.com/Tile lab community. So assuming this is your package, this is your GitHub repo. So if it is not, you just put it in. Of course, like I said, you can put that in later on. Keywords. Let's say this is going to the market. Like I mentioned, when you write a project, you may also want to deploy it. So keyword that when people search in the package distributions, either on Yarn or on npm stores, the keyword that they can use to get your package. So let's say you just say dev, whatever keyword that people can use that you feel will come to people's mind when they're looking for the package that you're building. So let's say dev authentication, validation, whatever that you're building, the keyword. So the author, let's say the author is Kenny, so you put your name. And then the license, what kind of license? So when you build a software project, you want to put license there. License in the fact, license that, okay, is it free for use? Are people supposed to use it free and they can distribute, they can copy, they can edit, or, they can use it free, but they cannot redistribute. If they want to distribute, they have to come back to you and write you or something like that. So you want to put license there. So this one is internet whatever consortium, internet system consortium license, which is that the application you're building is actually free, that it can be copied, it can be reused, provided you keep the license term that you put in your license document. So this is in some sorts, it's similar to what we call MIT license, that it can be copied, it can be reused, it can be distributed, but what they have to keep is just whatever you put in your license, that you are the owner, and that stays in there. So if you want to accept ISC license, so this is asking you if this look good, because this is going to be created for you. You have the name applications, the versions, like that. So if you say yes, so you're good, and that's get created. So doing this will have created a package.json file inside that folder, inside this current folder that you are. A package.json file will have been created, and this is the file that will be used to store all the packages that you use within your application, such that, and their versions as well. All right, so, and these packages are not sometimes they are heavy when you have, because you are going to download them and put them on the laptop. So they are not supposed to be pushed to the Git repository. You know, they are supposed to be ignored when you push to the Git repository. You ignore node. So when you download them, they will be called node modules. They will be stored or saved in a folder called node modules, and these are very heavy and they are not meant to be on your Git repo. So whenever you have your Git repository cloned, you run an npm install or yarn install or yarn. So when you say yarn runs all the commands, yarn install, and then yarn dev starts the server. All right, so this is going to run and install all the packages saved in the package.json. It's essentially making you a bit more organized. So if we go check inside the folder, you would see a folder has been created, and that will be I think I call this JS part 2. So this is it. This is the package.json file that has been created. So if we have a peep look from here, so let me add the folder to workspace. I'll just add this guy here, JS part 2. So if you look at this here, this is all those commands that we ran. This is what got created, and so we have it like this, right? So this is one thing that we have done. And what does it do for us? First, it set us up for effectively taking advantage of the package manager ecosystem. So what are we saying? If you go to, I hope I'm recording. Yes. Yeah, so if you go to npm store, I don't mean to go to install this thing. So if you go to the npm store, which is npm js.com, so you can come here, and when you're looking for a particular package, you can actually get packages here. If you're looking for validator, maybe you're looking for something about a validation, so you get several packages, several people who have worked on validation, so you can pick and use. Or sometimes maybe you already know the package that you want to install, you just come here and install, like SQLite that you saw that we met here by default. I think that was the last thing I installed from here. So but while installing from, just don't go and install virus or something that would stop. When you are installing, you want to check some stats about the license, the popularity of the package that you're downloading, you know, how is it being maintained, when was the last time this person pushed, is it an abandoned project, something like that. So this is last published 2 months ago. It means that it's still currently being supported. So you can use packages like this and to do stuff. And this package, for instance, help you to validate email, validate password, validate a couple of things. So rather than you doing all of those things manually yourself, you can save time and just take advantage of the ecosystem. And so, and the the short command to install any package will be npm install the package name. So for instance, if you have something like this, npm install the name of the package that you are trying to install. So the name of the package come here. So, and it's the responsibility of the package distributor, the person that built this package, to give you documentation on how his package will be used. So you know, it's not like, so you will see, for instance, now when it in fact tells you install npm install validation, this is what you use. Or you can use a shorthand npm I, the name of the package. They will then give you usage instruction, how it can be used, how you can import it, and how you can, make use of it. And of course, most of it are open source, so you can go to the GitHub repo and see if you want to learn some trick that they use. You can go there and try to see how this was actually put up. This is the code, the source code that is doing the validation. So all this, I'm just telling you a couple of things that you'll be doing going forward. Either you're going React way or you're going backend way. This is your foundation. So we're setting you up for that already. So that is one side, making use of package manager, whether Yarn or this thing. So I'm going to give you a simple exercise of that. After the class, you use the Yarn way, and the same thing, you just use Yarn init. So you can create another project in another folder and just say Yarn init. It will ask you a couple of questions that npm also asked us, and then you can have it. So but Yarn is not on your system by default. You get it installed, so you can install Yarn by npm install Yarn, so that Yarn is available, and then you can install it globally. So when you use global flag, it means that this is system wide, it's not project specific. So when you install anything with npm package and you use global or /g -g, or something like that, you are installing for all other that's within your system. You are installing it to your system so that it can be used across multiple packages. But when you install on a particular, just on this, when you say install something, you are installing on to this current project, right? So but when you use global flag, you are installing on your system, and that package can be used subsequently. So some packages that are also their system on their own, like React, like Angular, like stuff like that, you may want to install them globally, so they give you their own CLIs. So I'm not going to bore you too much on that, so we can hit straight on where we need to go, and then we can achieve a better result. Is there a question so far before I move on, because I'm just going to make use of what I've just created? Are we together, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I can move on, right? Do I have your consent?
Yeah. So I want to ask a question.
Okay, go ahead.
I just need a clarification on the keywords and license.
Okay, so keyword, you know that when I came here to this npm.js, when I was looking for, let's say I don't know the package that I'm looking for, I just come here to search. Assuming you build package and you put it to store, people are going to be searching your package for your package basically with certain keywords. So that keywords, you're helping the ecosystem find your package by putting the keywords that you feel will come to people's mind when they are looking for the package, and it most likely should go with what you're trying to do. So if you are building the package for other people to use, or you are also building it to package and you want to put it to store so that you can also use it later in other projects, that is what that keyword is for. What people use to search for, the keyword for your project. So if I come here now, I search for clients. So let's say I'm searching for email package. When I come here, you'll see a lot of packages that are email related. This is a keyword that I use, so I can see email. So this guy used email, send email. This guy here used email, send email, node email as some of his keywords. This guy here used more keywords. This guy, he used email, validation, validators, stuff like that. These are his own keywords, right? So keywords, of course, just like when you go to Google, when you build the HTML tag, you want to build meta tags. So when you build meta tags, you want to put keywords in there so that your SEO is improved when people go and search for the kind of project that you do, the kind of business that the website is about. They find it easily with the meta tags keywords. Same thing here. So the second one is the licensing. So the license is that this project I'm building, is it free? Yeah, when it's free, what kind of, to what extent is it free? So when you use ISC, that is Internet System Consortium, or MIT, it means that the project is free, the software project is free, and it's free for copy. People can copy it, they can edit it, they can modify it, they can redistribute it. You understand? So I can pick your project now and I can continue to work on it. All right. So when I continue to work on it, you may put certain thing in your licensing, in your license document, that this thing should remain kenny. You know, certain things should remain in there, that they should keep certain thing there, that you are the original, you know, maker of that thing. So you put it in there so that they follow that rule, but of course they can copy and redistribute, or you can also put it there that they feel free and remove your name entirely. So for instance, if we look at this, so let's say we open this one. If you open this guy on, you may want to see his license. You want to see, let me go to his GitHub repo. Suddenly this class has reduced to, this guy doesn't have a license document. But of course you see that it's distributed with it doesn't have license document. The first one we searched, which was also accidental, had the validator guy. If you see this guy here, the license is MIT, so you can check out what MIT license means. You know, you can check out what MIT's license is. I'll just explain it to you, you know, at the surface. If you go to the GitHub repository of this guy, if you put the license documents, yeah, so the license document is also not here, but it's distributed under MIT. It means that of course you can use and redistribute, and so do you get my explanation, please?
Yes, I got it.
Sorry,
But
sir,
I think I'm seeing
saw the
license on this
Huh?
GitHub.
What do you say?
I think I'm
The
seeing
license is
license
on the
document on GitHub.
Is what?
The license is there. You
I
can
see
see
the
it.
license here. My eye is not.
Yep.
So look at this license here. The license is copyright. This permission is thereby granted free of charge to any person obtaining a copy of this software and so it's just giving you this thing. So you may want to, for anything that you want to use, please, when you are building a project, especially if it's a project of this thing, you want to ensure the license, you keep to the license, because when your project hit it big, you know, they can come to you from that license angle that you use their package and then you didn't follow the license terms. So you have to ensure that you go through the license and ensure that okay, you're cool with the content there, you know. So can we move on?
Thank you, sir.
I have a question, sir.
Yes, please be fast.
Okay, can you throw more lights on the box and the homepage that you added at the end of your package?
The what?
The
home
box
page.
and yeah, you added it at the end of your package that you created in your VS Code. Where you have
No, I did not
box,
add it.
then you
It got
set it.
added. It got added by itself. But I will explain. Box, if you find issues,
Okay.
if you find issues with the package that you distribute, right? You know, people will be able to. People can come and report that okay, certain things are not working well. So you can keep track of the issues. So you have and it's mostly on your. You know, since you submit your GitHub repo, it's automatically /issues for instance, that this one that you're working, this one that we are having now, when people distribute packages, there will be issues. So this one like this is issues. So you can see it's on this GitHub/issues, and this is where people can come and create new issues. When you're using the package, it's not working well. It's not like you don't know what you're doing. Maybe it's the package that has some issues. So sometimes it's a bug. Sometimes it's you are requesting, maybe the package work the way it's meant to work, but you are requesting for certain enhancement in the package. You are you are requesting for certain functionalities that you feel they can add to enhance the beauty of what they built. So that's why you can see that they clarify some of these things. Certain things are clarified as bug, and certain things are clarified as just this. So when you create a GitHub issue, and which can also, what you guys should already be doing that in your project. It's because I've not been following with your project. When I review your projects, and we get these things, you are going to get when you are creating a new bug, you would see here you are going to have to specify what you are creating. Is it a bug, or is it so when you are labeling it, you are going to label it to as a bug or not a bug, pretty much. But I'm not going to create any issue here because I have not used the package. I don't know how it works, but pretty much that's what that box talks about, to be able to people to report issues on your package. And then the home page is when you create in your GitHub things, the first thing that people get to see is what you put in the README, and that's your GitHub. So when you come here, what get displayed here is from the README, and so that is the home page of these projects and the distance, and there's nothing special in there. So that's got created based on this because they are available on the default URL /issues, then this one ID to README. Do you understand, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, good.
Question, sir.
Hello, what do you say?
I have a question, sir.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. Sir, you said we should create another folder using Yarn, right?
Yes.
Then you know said it should be installed.
Yeah, Yarn is not available by default. Node is also, npm is also not available by default, and npm is available through you installing Node first. If you just have a brand new system, or if I know some couple of you have been dealing with nodes, because I can see, so this time you run console.log, you do your console.log in the terminals and stuff like that. So I know that a couple of you have been working with that, but like I always do, I don't want to assume knowledge, and so we just take it from scratch like that. So you install Node so that you can have npm. Now for you to have Yarn, all right, so if you go to Yarn website, Yarn will tell you how to install it. If you go to Yarn website, that is yarnpackage.com, you see the installation. So, and it tells you that for you to install me, you have a number of options. Either you use Homebrew if you're on MacBook, or you use npm install. So you have, where's that guy again? So just like npm JS, this one also has this thing. So you can have that installation. So yarn init, yarn install. This is how you install the where is that guy again? So essentially, if you want to install Yarn, I just go and check their websites. If you want to install Yarn, this is, let me do that. Although if you do this, if you create a new folder, and then you just do npm install, and then you install Yarn. All right, npm install Yarn. So this will install Yarn, and of course you should install it globally. Install it globally. so that it's available anytime, and then you can then begin to use yarn in itself. So when you open a new folder, you can just use yarn init, and then it asks you a couple of questions that this guy asks you, so you can get that the yarn. I've forgotten what the what the this thing is, what the this thing is. Yeah, it's still here, but it's a package manager that doubles this thing, so you can go through and see how it, but I've given you the simple simple installation. Do you understand? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So this is when you already have yarn installed, though. So I was looking for where you use your npm to install it, but nonetheless, moving on. So any other question before we move on to this? All right, so the next thing we want to talk about is that now we
I have a question, sir.
please go ahead
I've
with
been
your
raising my
question.
hand.
Go ahead with your
Now, can we
question.
have npm and yarn together?
Yeah, you can,
If
but
npm
yeah, you can,
globally yarn,
you can, but you run into problems. You mostly runs into problem. Reason being that when you run your npm, when you on a project, if you're using npm as a package manager, you're going to have npm json lock. What I'm talking about is this. Let me show you a sample project. Let me see a sample project that I can show up. Yeah, so let me show a sample project without going to. So when you install this thing, you are going to have something like this package log.json, which is locking your versions, the versions of the application, the packages that you have used. It locks it, with their version number, so that your application is always stable, because these people are going to be publishing more versions and all of those things, and sometimes maybe some of these versions may not be backward compatible with the one that you have used. So each time you install this, ensure that it always install the same package that you are using, even when you bring it out to. So that package like JSON ensures that. Now if you use yarn, yarn will also create its own, which is yarn lock. So yarn lock, the what's it called, the version that yarn install might be different from the one that the package is. So sometimes you have package conflict, you have package conflicts. That's when you use this things like that. So experience has shown that you just stick to one, and most importantly sometimes you stick to yarn. Yarn. So, but that doesn't mean the fact that you init this with npm does not mean that we cannot take it further with yarn. We init this one because it gives comprehensive. I need this one. I most likely, when I starting a new project, I don't normally follow this approach, but I did it so that how these things. We already have a couple of things that we have a standard that we can just clone, and we'll start from there. That already has some of this setup by default. So what I'm saying is that the package.json that this guy creates, both of them will work with the same package.json though, but they will create separate log files to keep the versions. So the fact that we init this one with yarn with npm does not mean that when I want to install, I cannot go and install with yarn. You understand? So if I need to install any package, I use yarn to manage my life cycle. So for that reason, you may want to change what you put in your script from being npm to that. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
Not really, sir.
Okay, you are free to use yarn and so when you are free to use yarn and npm package manager on the same project, but most likely you are going to run into issues. You're going to run into issues of package conflicts, because when you use yarn when you use yarn to add a package, it might install, let's say it installs certain version of that particular package that you are installing and keeps it in the yarn lock. Yarn lock keeps track of the versions that you have installed. Look at it here. If you look at it, this is package log.json. Just keep tracks of packages and their versions. So this ensures that each time you run npm install or you run your package manager yarn, the same package gets installed all the time. So you are going to yarn. If you use yarn will keep track of it. We have yarn lock, and then of course npm will also have npm lock. And so if you use yarn and it has installed 3.92 for instance, and you use npm, it has installed Jasmine, another version, so you're going to have issues when you run which one is it. You are going to run into, and in fact some of your seniors that are working on one Tyler project that they're working on, they have these issues that I'm explaining just this morning that Uncle Bay helped them to resolve. This is just as simple as using npm and using yarn together in the same project. That is one. So you are going to stick to one. The best practice is stick to one. But the point I'm making is that the fact that I started with one, like saying npm init, does not mean that I'm limited to using only npm on this project. What this does essentially was just to create a package.json, which is needed by either, if you're using yarn or these things, both of them need a package.json which documents the package. Both of them work with that, right? So the fact that I started with this with npm init, I can continue it with each time I need to add a new package, and I want to install it from the store, from the package manager stores. I can use yarn to install it. I don't know if it's making sense to you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the whole thing will get clearer. They are simpler than they look. They are simpler than this whole programming thing. If you look back now, if you go and look at some of your old videos, all your old classes that you feel you did not understand, you should see that they should seem simple to you. This whole thing, the moment we start using this thing, the whole thing will become so clear in your mind. They are not as ambiguous as it seems. They are very simple. So now I have this package manager here, but I'm not ready to really install anything from the package. I just want to get myself together and write some bits of code inside this, and I want to start using modules. So the next thing we'll talk about is modules, how you use module in your project. All right, so modules essentially makes your, as the name implies, make your code modular. Makes your code modular and makes you make your code or project a bit more organized. so that you don't, a couple of things that we have been doing up to date is just putting things like this, like this, like that, just writing code, HTML, JavaScript inside HTML, and I did that on purpose, coming from beginner friendly environment so that you guys get to get, used to it that way, and of course we begin to grow progressively so that you know how things work. There's nothing so wrong so much about it other than you not being as organized as you should be. So we are going to get our course to be modular, and we are going to be using module. And so to do that, you use two type of programming, JavaScript programming. So you have CommonJS, or when you're using modular programming, CommonJS, or you use SystemJS. So in your afternoon sessions, I want you to itemize, the similarities and differences of CommonJS, vis-a-vis the SystemJS. All right. So we use both to load in modules. So one load node modules, SystemJS load it on runtime, so you can progressively load modules as per needed, rather than loading it hot, rather than loading it cold, like that. So SystemJS, systems frameworks like Angular uses SystemJS, but I would dwell so much on CommonJS approach, and then we'll see how that works. So like I mentioned, so I want to use this. I intentionally don't want to use this. I want to use this one so that we can flow well with the whole thing. So I'm going to open a new file. So this enables our code to be very modular. So let's say we create a file and we call it, so let's say we call this file index.js. Let's say we call this file index.js because we promised this guy that we are going to create an index.js file, which is going to be the entry point to our application. So if you want to run it note like that, so this may, but it's not like our approach. It's not like it's compulsory that we come and create this thing here, because we're still using the web client approach. All right, but if we want to be running node command to run our application from the terminal, so it's going to look first through this index.js because that's the entry point to your application, and that is what you have created. So that is the face of your application right there. All right, so that's why I created it, because why we did that is we promise during when we're creating package.json that index.js is going to be our distance, and that's where it looks at first. That is just basic. I won't put any bits inside index.js. Okay, so so let's say we create this guy here. Let's say we create a file and I want to use login. I create a file and I call it login.js, and I want to use that to handle login logic or sign up logic. I think sign up first or login first, whichever one. So let me change that to sign up first. We've written one sign up logic somewhere where we save into local storage. We're already saving to remote server, so we're going to do something similar, some similar approach, but this time around we're going to be using a modular approach. So what we are doing here is that first off, the background to understand, I will be using this page to explain a couple of things that you need to know as regards modules. All right, so modules are exported. When you finish cooking a module, you are going to export it if you want it to be usable by other modules. So you're going to use export keyword to export that module so that other modules can import it. All right, so it's common sense. If Nigeria has finished processing the crude oil, we have it exported, and then we import what we need. All right, so when you cook up a module, you export it for other people to import. So you're going to be using export and import keyword, and I don't think export and import needs further explanation because they are keywords and they are self-explanatory. Exports a particular module for other modules. Import it from other modules and make use of it. So you're going to be using this keyword. So exports, when you talk about exports, this guy thought I was writing import, so it's trying to help me finish up my code. I wasn't really writing that. So when you write exports, you have two ways you can export. Export an items. You can export name exports, or default exports. So you can have something like this: name exports or default exports. What we are saying is that you can export explicitly when you use name export. For instance, you can say export name equals to Kenny, something like this. So you can export constant, or constant constant name equals to Kenny. So what you're doing here is that you're using name export. This is, you're exporting this guy straight on, by the name. You are exporting name straight on. This name is not because of this name. Let me change this name so that someone will not say. So let me say company equals to Google, and then I'm exporting this right here. This is a name export, exporting a variable explicitly like that. All right, so we can have this guy exported like this, or I can also export another thing. Export country, constant country equals to Nigeria. So I have this guy, so I'm exporting both of them, individually and by their name. This is a name export, right? So all these ones, we can export them one after the other like this, or we can export them together. Export company. This one is just explanation. I'm going to go into that place and use it. Company, comma, country, like this. I can export these two guys together rather than exporting them. So I can, let's say I have constant company declared, constant country declared, and then I can export company like this. These are still name exports. Or I can export and then I say default, all right, and then I mention what I'm exporting. Basically, we use this guy to export if I'm exporting like a function and that has a whole lot within it, has a lot, like a module in itself, exporting the whole module by the module name, or I have one function that has so much within it I'm exporting. All right, so we use this default for it. I'm going to open things up, and I'm trusting that it's going to be very simple to follow. All right, so I'm creating let's create a file called sign up. and then we want to use that to handle a sign up form. So let's say we create here, we create a new file still, and we call that signup.html. Now, so if we call that signup.html, and right in here, I have this guy here. So I will just quickly create, without being fancy, I'll just create a simple sign up form, so you guys can style it as you want. So let me say I have a form, and then I call that form with an ID sign up. All right, so let's say we have a sign up form like this, and then we have some elements within it. So input, I'll just be minimal so that you guys can. So let's say I have inputs, and then let's say the name of that input is first name, and then I give it a name, first name still. Then let's say I have another input called last name, or name basically. I don't want to even, let me just roll with full name, so you guys can break it down into all of that. I want to go straight into what's the business of the day, so you guys can rest. So we have full name here, and then let's say I have another input, and then here I want to call it username or email. So name equals to username, and then I have another input. Let's say we call that one password. Name equals to password. Okay, and then I have another input, and then this one is submit. So basically I want to use proper way of writing code with
So you have two types for the last input.
Oh, thank you. All right, so we want to use the module way to handle this form. I know that all of us, almost all of us, if not all of us, should be able to at least take input from users and put it to local storage as a sign up, dummy sign up, before you start calling the API. But right now, so we just, I know I'm assuming that at least we should be able to do that. So, but we want to write clean code, a modular way of doing that. So the better way of doing that, setting you up for React, and of course for Node.js. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do then will be to write an event handler. First, I'm going to bring this signup.js here, but I'm going to bring it in as a module. So I'm going to come here. I have our scripts, and then I'm going to bring in sign up JS, but this time around I'll say type equals to module, because we are going to modularize it. And then if you don't do it like this, it's not going to, you'll find out that the stuff is not fiery. So you need to let the guy know that it comes in as a module. And this is not for all browsers, though. Most browsers, maybe these days, because are aware and they know how to interpret that. So of course you have to just put type equals to module to ensure that everything works well. So the next thing you want to do is to get that your form out. So assuming I haven't done anything special, nothing modular yet, but I want to build up to that. So let me say you call your sign up form to be equals to the document dot get elements by ID. All right, this guy here, you gave it an ID sign up. You gave it an ID sign up. So you have that done, just declaring the form. So the next thing we want to do is to then add event handler to the form. So I use the sign up form dot add event listener. All right, so event listener in this sense is maybe when this form is submitted, I want to do something. So let's say we want to submit, right? And then you have this. If you are, depending on the kind of function you're writing, or you write it declaratively, so whichever one you guys are comfortable with. So if you have your function, then events, and then you have this guy. All right, so the first thing you want to do, of course, will be to say events dot prevent defaults, so that that submit doesn't get fired even when it doesn't submit normally. I'm not going to explain all of that. So this is normal. There's nothing special that we have done that is modular than just that we have not written this code inside this place. We've written it separate, and I've seen a couple of you doing that. But what is this thing is that we may want to validate a couple of these inputs. We want to validate, and maybe you have written a validator in another package, in another distance, and of course you can write the validator right in here. What if you have other form to validate? You write it again, or you want to copy and paste. Don't forget the principle of do not repeat yourself. So for things to be reusable, and the fact that you don't want to repeat yourself, you are going to stop that you copy and paste several here and there. You are going to keep them separate. So you import them instead. You keep them separate and get them imported where you need them, rather than having to copy paste here and there. So what I'm saying is that we have this form right here, and this form we may want to validate a couple of things here. Maybe you want to, of course, if you come here, since this is the normal thing, we can just say required, and then that validator works normally. But you may want to do so much more than just using the elementary HTML5 validator. You want to do certain level of validation of the type of name you want, the type of password you want, strong password, weak password, the length of the password. You want to enforce all of that. So you may want to you write a validator, and because you want to use that validator elsewhere, you don't want to write the code here. You can write it in here, nothing spell, but it makes sure that if you need it elsewhere, you are left with only copying it and pasting it. All right. So let's see what I'm talking about. So let's say that we also get the input type that we got from the form. So let's say we have the full name. Is also taken care of, which is going to be the sign up form that we have here. So I can also get that one too by document.get element, but I can also get it from the sign up form that we've got here. Sign up form dot elements. The elements in the sign up forms will give me, and then I can just put that up as, say, provided you use name. If you use name, you can target this like that. If you use name, but if you don't use name, you are not. So if you use name, there. So if you use ID, then of course you come and use document.id. So if you use name, he has a node name, this guy, and so you can get it like this. Full name, and then you can also get I think we have username there, so you can get the same thing here. You could have duplicated that guy, and then you have username like this, and then you have password. So let's say you have the password, which represents the fields actually. So sign up from dot element, and then you can get the password. So this effectively gets respective elements. Like I mentioned, provided you use name here, you're able to target them like that. Otherwise, you can just use the document.get element by ID and you get that out. All right. So the next thing I want to do is let's say I want to do simple validation. I want to do simple validation. Of course, you can put you can put this thing there. This guy, are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So assuming I want to do simple validation, I want to write it here first, and then I will do the right thing so that it makes more sense. So assuming that I want to ensure that this person types in a strong password, the rest I can use simple validation for them as required. So I just want to ensure strong password. So assuming I write a regular expression that says that says the password is, so let me say const password regex. So if I write this guy here, regular expression, so let me pick it from here. Okay, so I have a regular expression here for must contain number, must contain this thing that I will just pick and use. So I'll just use that. All right, so you guys remember the regex that we did, and then you have your pattern. It's A to Z, small letter, it must contain small letter, it must contain capital letters, it must contain numbers, it must contain special characters, and I define what is acceptable, like that. So I just pick that and use. You can check your regular expression class again. All right, so I want to use that to confirm that this person, actually put in the right a strong password. So the next thing I want to do is to get the password that he types in. So if I get the password I types in, so let me call this one, because what we got here are actually fields. So let me call this fields. They are not the actual value. We just target the field. So this is field. Now, so if I want to get the password itself, so I'm going to have the password field, the password field dot value. These are not, and then I trim it to ensure that there's no empty space. There's no extra space, trailing space at the end or the beginning. So trim it like that, and then validate. So if I do this one here, I say if, don't forget your regular expression, if I do this one to test, if I test this with this password that this person put in, if I do that, test that with it, if it returns true, I have, it means that it passes. If it doesn't return true, it means that it fails, right? So I have, if this does that, then I'm going to say that this person has passed, but of course I can just negate it. If not, password. So if that means it means that if this is false, then I want to be able to show an error. I want to be able to show an error that this person, this password is not this is. For now, let me do an alert so I don't module it up. Let me just say alert password must contain small letters, capital letters, number, and special character. And at least a special character, and at least a special character. So this gets this thing. So you see what I've written here is that each time I have another form that requires password validation, I'll have to copy and use. But let's see if this works first before we even then modularize it, and then even the error message. So let's run this. Now, so I have this served up. I hope this guy is type password. This guy here, let me make it type password. Then let's give them placeholders. Full name. Placeholder username required, placeholder password required. That's simple first level validation. Okay, so here I type in this person's name, username Kenny, and then I type in password as the password, and then you see what I got here. Password must contain small letter, capital letter, these things like that, because the validation is wrong. So this code works, right? This code works, but it's not modular. This code work, but it's not modular. Okay. All right. So for us to make this thing work better, we may want to isolate this validator, and then have it, or maybe all other validations who can also join it in the league of the validator, right? So let's say we create a new file, and we call it validation.js. So let's say we call that guy validation.js, and to even be more organized, you're supposed to put all your JS or your JavaScript in the same folder, so that you have, and later on you begin to put stuff that are related to one another in the same folder, like that. But let's start like that. So assuming we want to keep this guy like this, and then we want to separate this validator that we've written. So I'm just going to take it out. I'm going to take this guy out, this validator here, and have it written on another, written here. So assuming we take this guy out from here, which is essentially going to be validating. So let me just copy it. So I'll take out what needs to be taken out. So let's say I call this one export, and I write the function straight on function, and I call it validate password. So if I say validate password and I put the HTML elements as the param, or the value, if I like, so let me say we put in the value or the password that we are validating as a param. Okay, so we put in the password that we are validating as a param, and we push the guy up. So what we copy from there, I can paste it down here. We have this guy, constant password is, so this time around, this is the password that is being pushed in, so there's no need to declare it again. Password that comes as the argument, I'll just trim it, so it comes as it's going to come as an argument later on, so I'll just trim it. Okay, so this guy here, the same thing, you know, if this returns this one like this, so we can also alert from here. We can alert from here, and it works like that. But let's say we want to do so much more than just alerting. We may want to show an error right on the screen. We want to show an error right on the screen. So let's say I write another function. So I'm going to write two functions here. So let's say I write another function, and I call it show error. I want to be using it to show error in multiple places. So I say export, I have function, and then let's say I call that guy show error. Okay, and then here let's say we put the element that we want to. Please, are we following?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. It's almost 1 o'clock though. Okay, fine. So assuming we have we want to use, rather than just alerting, if you alert it's still okay, you know, but let's say rather than just alerting, we want to show error on the screen. We want to show error on the screen, and so that, and this show error can also be used anywhere you want to show an error, like that. So let's say you have this guy here, the element to show the error on, and the error message itself. error message itself. So let's say the element you want to show the error, you want to display the error on, and the error message itself. Okay, so if you have this guy here, so what you're doing here is you're exporting this guy explicitly, each of them, on their own, and of course you're using name export. So here, let's say the error box, error container is equals to this one. I'll just use simple, the element that you are displaying it on. So let's go in there. So let's say here we want to display the error here, whatever distance we want to display this error in. So let's say we call this one, this place, let's say we have a small tag, but this can be anything. You can have a div, whatever you want to do. I just want to have display it here. So let's say we want to display the error that comes as a result of this one. We want to display it right on this screen, and we want to display it on this small tag here. Okay, so I'll just go straight into my validation, which can also be, this message can also be another, maybe we call that error handler, and we have a message in there as well. Let's say I'm having it here. So we say element dot just one of your query this thing. So let's say parent node, right? Then query selector. So you select that guy out, called small, because I have this guy here, this small, but it's not this deep. You can target it with your ID if you like. You could have called this guy ID and just document the element by this guy and get that guy out. So it's not this thing. But what I'm saying is that you may want to be able to display, and in fact even targeting the small like this is still restricting the capacity of our code to only the error message can only be displayed on what's it called, on a small tag, because we are querying small tag from the parent node. Okay, yeah, so let's just finish this up. So are we together, please? Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
yeah, so it pretty much just a query, just getting this guy from the DOM, nothing special. So the next thing is just to then say that we want to display that error on it, and then we want to put the message. So let's say the error container dot the inner text. So inner text is equals to the error message as it comes, like that. So you can have that, and then you can if you return false, it means that nothing else go forward again. When you return false, it means that all execution stops. So we say return false, like this. Okay, and of course, and this can be used later on. Now we have isolated this, and then we have also write a way of writing out this thing. So we can come here, rather than just the basic alert here, we could come here and say this, that use the show error function inside here, and we can also use that show error function elsewhere, not only here. We can use to display any error message. So if I use this guy, show error, this show error function here, so let me say I use it here below the alert guy. So show error, and then the show error, takes in the element. So and then this thing. So for that reason, because we want to, this one here where it has to be an element because we want to show it right beside the element that has the error. So if you need to show it right beside the element that has the error, then we have to find a way of passing it into this function. So this guy here would be a field, would be an element, which is a field. So what we are saying is that if this guy is an element, this guy here will be element dot value. That's how that guy gets, so that we can use that element for we can use one stone to kill two birds. So we can have this guy element, comma, and then this guy is the error message that we are displaying. So this guy is the error message that we're displaying, and probably alerting that. And also passing that into here. What this guy needs. This guy needs elements and the error message. So we want to display this thing together with that guy there. Okay, so basically this guy here would come in handy if we go in here and then use it. Please, is anybody confused? It's normal if you have to confirm a couple of things, but I think it should be straightforward enough, right? So if I go back to my sign up now, I don't want to use this guy here. I want to bring in that validator from another module, another page, another file, rather than writing it right here. So I'm going to have this guy deleted. Have this guy deleted like this. Then first thing I'm going to do then will be to import from that guy, so I'm going to import and so this is import statement. Import, if you have multiple things to import from a particular module, so I'm importing from this validation. I'm importing show error and validate password. So I will import show error and validate password from this validation.js. So here I will import show error and validate password from this guy here, validation.js. So we have that imported from this guy, and then we move on to using the validation as we used it the first time. So let's say that I am checking the validation, so I say if validate password, which I got from validator.js. Your validation takes elements, which is of any. So the password field now, password field, something like this. Okay, so if this guy here, if the validation, if passes, then your validation.js returns what? Is anybody following?
Yes, sir.
So your validation.js should return something. In this case, so let me see.
The error message.
It returns what? it shows the error message and then returns. If not test, if the test is not passed, then it's going to, we should return false, which we have returned from here. But if it passes, we return true. If it passes, we return true. So if it doesn't pass, we return false. If it passes, we return true. So because that is the logic that this guy is going to use. So if validates this is, if it is true, then it means that validation is good. You can congratulate the person. Otherwise, you are going to ask the person, you are going to have the error message displayed. Please, are we on the same page?
Yes, sir.
Something like that, Abi. I will encourage you to look back again at the video and slow it down and then watch it with keen attention. All right, so so if the password is not, if it doesn't pass, then so if validate this one, if validate and say congratulations, let's say we just alert strong password, or we don't even say anything. If the password is good, maybe we don't say anything, or if it is good, we say password is good. Or you want to say it on, or you want to write it on the DOM, just like the other one too, and state that is good. Now, so if you run this whole thing now, you see that I'm not even using this guy yet. So let me take it out, the show error. I'm not using it here because the idea is that when you import something, of course, you should be, when anything that you are not using, you don't bring them in. When you're ready to bring them in, when you're ready to use them, you bring them in. So if we use this and then we pass in, where is this guy? Where are we using it from? Here, right? Yeah. So now if we pass this thing again, Kenny puts password, and I sign up, then we have, so let's ensure that everything is saved, and then this guy we can see, okay, we have not saved this guy, we can see this more, so that the error is meant to display right in there on the screen. So you have a password, so you have that. So let's check out for error. So I think there is an error somewhere. Password is not defined, so I used password somewhere and it wasn't defined. On validation on this line here, yes, so that is here. If you go to that validation.js, here this is strict now. This guy has to be defined. With a keyword, so password, so that he knows that that's what we're using, element.value, and then so this should take his head should be correct now. So the console is free of error, and then you can go ahead and put in username and put in password and then sign up. So you can see it works like pretty much that alert shows up, and then password is strong, his password is not strong. So your password must contain small, so this got displayed on the screen, like that. You might have styled this guy, maybe you style this guy and then you have it here. So this one is, because it flows, it overflows rather than this, so this one is not supposed to execute. All right, so if password, that is from the other side there, the here, if this is this, that returns first. It doesn't wait for the other guy. This is where async and can await also comes in. But I will just go plain here. So what we've been able to do here is that you've been able to see how we create a function and we have the exported to for other module to make use of. So we created this guy here. So we can use the show error anywhere in any other file. As you can see here in sign up, we're making use of stuff that we didn't create here, and we're bringing it with this thing here. All right, using the imports, because this other guy have used this. So it's a basic usage. So you can go ahead and finish up this implementation to sign up. Go ahead and finish up this implementation by getting the element, the value from these other guys, and then saving it to the local storage. All right, so the foundation is laid, and I will be looking forward to that. So if you're not sure of what to do, check our previous editions, previous classes on how we have saved it. That hasn't changed. What we are doing now is getting more organized and then writing code that are reusable, and of course getting close to not repeating ourselves. All right, so it's been a lot of time on the call, but I think if you go through it and you understand it, we have moved a step further. So thank you guys. Any questions?
Thank you, sir.
I'm on the call.